Hello students, this is Dr. Sujata Mathur, Assistant Professor, Department of Zoology, KTHM College, Nashik. I am dealing with Biological Chemistry, that is Paper 3 with the code ZY333 for TYBSc. In the previous lecture, we started with understanding of bond in biomolecule and made an attempt to understand the ionic bond. Today, once again, I am going to discuss the next small part from the same chapter, that is Introduction to Biological Chemistry, and the topic of today's discussion is covalent bonds. Now, to begin with understanding of covalent bond, let us have the graphics which are been taken from Khan Academy. Now here the story is between the two friends, that is Emily and Sarah, and the climatic condition which both of them they are experiencing is the chilled cold weather. Moreover, the irony of this chilled cold weather is there is only one single blanket and both the friends they are very much confused about utilization of this single blanket as such. Therefore, what is left with them is either the same blanket could be shared by both of them. As such, in this scenario, the blanket could be equally shared or it could be partially shared by the two. And depending on this sharing, we will now try to correlate the formation of covalent bond. Now suppose Emily is one atom, Sarah is another atom, and the valence electron in their outer shell is single. So as a result of which, when they have to complete their valence electron, there should be sharing of electron between the two valence shell, so that one of the atom will satisfy its valence shell as such. As a result of this, the atom becomes stable. Now this is what is seen happening in covalent bond also. Here the sharing is observed, which can be either complete or it could be partial. So if there is a complete sharing, then we can say the bond formation is, you can say, as a non-polar type. Whereas if there is a partial sharing, then we can say that there is formation of covalent bond. Now you all understand or you all know that the cell, what we talk about as the fundamental unit of life, is composed of different types of biomolecules. Now what are biomolecules? Carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, or nucleic acid, which includes both DNA as well as RNA, they are commonly termed as biomolecules. And these biomolecules, they are made up of large atoms of carbon, and along with that, there are other atoms are also observed. Now, the arrangement of this carbon atom, they are forming the skeletal part. So, what is the skeletal part? Here, I have shown the different biomolecules, the examples from carbohydrates, proteins as well as lipid. You can see that the skeletal part is the central part wherein carbon is linked to one another. Now this is called as the skeleton of the biomolecule. The same is the condition with reference to proteins also, wherein the linking will be seen between NCC, NCC and all. So this is forming the carbon skeleton. Whereas in case of lipids, once again, you can see a long chain of carbon atoms linked together, and this forms the skeleton of carbon skeleton of the molecule. Now, other than this carbon skeleton, what you can see, it shows an additional linkage on either side, which are called as the side chains. Now, these side chains are either made up of polar or non-polar molecules, right? Now, the stability of any biomolecule is totally dependent on the carbon skeleton because the covalent bond formed between the carbon atom is because of equal sharing of electrons between the two, and hence it forms a very stable component of the biomolecule. In the same way, the carbon skeleton which forms the covalent bond is equally shared by other different elements also, or other different atoms also. Like you can see into this structures, there is presence of hydroxyl group in glucose, there is presence of hydrogen atom in case of lipids, there is presence of nitrogen or oxygen in case of protein molecules, and so on. This covalent bond is present in all the biomolecules as I stated, that is DNA, RNA, proteins or lipids, or you can say carbohydrates. They are also seen present into inorganic molecules like water and carbon dioxide. Now in this lecture, or particularly in biological chemistry, we are interested to understand the concept of chemistry with reference to biological component, and therefore we will be considering most of the time carbohydrates, proteins, lipids or nucleic acids. Now let us go into the depth of covalent bond. As I said, this covalent bond is formed by sharing of electron, and this sharing is actually the you can say there is a partial sharing. It's not a complete sharing, but it is partial sharing wherein both the girls they are having the feeling of comfort, or they enter into their comfort zone. Same is the situation if I replace this Sarah and Emily with two different atoms. Now here on the lower side you can see two atoms which contains single electron in their outer shell. Obviously, if I talk about the individual atom, I can say it is unstable. Now, why it is unstable? Because it does not have the valence shell of its own. Therefore, this unstable atom will be always in search of another atom which is ready to share its electron, and therefore such sharing will lead to formation of a bonding between these two, and that bond is called as a covalent bond. Now this type of sharing of electron between the two atoms gives rise to formation of polar type of covalent bond. Now here when we are talking about sharing, one of the atom is giving its electron to another, right? In this scenario, when atom is given or it is donated to another electron is donated to another atom, we can say that there will be slight development of positive charge onto the atom which is losing its electron. Why? Because the nuclear component, it contains proton which will have one excess proton as compared to the total electrons present in its vicinity. Therefore, the one which is donating electron will become a slightly positive in nature, whereas the atom which is gaining an electron, that will become slightly negative. Again, the reasoning behind why it becomes slightly negative is because there is additional electron in its cloud area, and the number of protons happens to be one less as compared to the total number of electron in its vicinity, which you can see onto the lower side. Therefore, we can say the second atom becomes slightly negative. So, we can say there is development of charges which are called as delta positive charge on the atom which is donating its electron, and delta negative charge on the atom which is accepting the electron. So this is called as the electronegativity development onto the second atom. The electrons shared by the atom spend more time closer to one nucleus other than the other nucleus, right? Now here there are few examples of covalent bond. from the biomolecules. The first type of covalent bond is the glycosidic bond. Now this glycosidic bond is commonly observed into carbohydrate. Now what is glycosidic bond? You should understand that carbohydrate, it is the polymer. Polymer means it's a long chain. Polymer of large number of monomeric unit, that is glucose. Or you can say this glucose is the unit of carbohydrate. Now if there is two glucose units linked in a polymer chain, then this linking is by means of glycosidic linkage. Now the first structure what is shown is of glucose. So here we can say that two glucose units, they are linked together by glycosidic linkage, which is an example of covalent bonding. Other than this, the carbohydrates, they show a subtype like glycoproteins. So in case of glycoprotein, the glucose is linked with the protein moiety. And here, instead of calling simply the glycosidic linkage or glycosidic bond, we can say that there is development of N-glycosidic linkage. So distinction between glycosidic linkage and N-glycosidic linkage is, in N-glycosidic linkage, you can see presence of sugar molecule which is attached with any of the carbohydrate entity into the vicinity. The example for N-glycosidic linkage which I have shown here is taken from DNA. But even in case of carbohydrates, you have the same situation if I give or if I quote an example of glycoproteins, wherein we can say that the glucose will be linked with the carbon atom, or you can say with the unit molecules of the proteins. So two examples of glycosidic bonds, or two different types of glycosidic bond. One simple which is observed into the carbohydrate, that is called as glycosidic linkage. Another example quoted from nucleic acid, wherein you can call it as N-glycosidic linkage. This N-glycosidic linkage is also present in carbohydrates, but then that is seen with reference to glycoproteins, that is, you can say compound lipids or complex lipids. Then the second type of covalent bond which are present in biomolecules are disulfide bonds and peptide bonds. Now both disulfide bonds and peptide bonds, they are commonly observed into protein. We'll try to understand what are disulfide bonds. Now these disulfide bonds and peptide bonds, as I said, they are present into proteins. These peptide bonds are formed by, now where can I show you peptide bonds? This one. These peptide bonds which are formed by dehydration reaction occurs when two amino acid, that is, here you can see R1 and R2 I have said. So these are two different amino acids which are positioned in such a way that the carboxyl group of one, carboxyl, this is one, the carboxyl group of one is seen attached or adjacent with the amine group of another. And so the bonding will be seen between the carboxyl end of amino acid 1 and amine terminal of amino acid 2. Therefore, the bond will be CONH, which is called as the peptide bond. In the same way, the disulfide bond which I am talking about, again it is seen present into the proteins, and this is a weak covalent bond formed between two thiol groups, that is the SH group. Now here can you see this SH group? These are the two thiol groups. So the best example is cysteine residues. Now here there are the example which I have quoted is between the two cysteine molecules. This is the strongest chemical bond present in the protein. Example is insulin, if I quote an example, which is stabilized by the disulfide bridges. Okay. Now let us move on to the next type, that is the ester bonds which are seen present in, you can say, DNA as well as fatty acids and you can say lipids. So what are these ester bonds? Now, this ester bond is actually the covalent bond which is formed between carbon, oxygen and carbon molecule, right? Further, the nucleotide, for example, concentrate onto the nucleic acid part, that is ribonucleosides and deoxyribonucleoside structure I have quoted. So here you can see that I am making you understand the presence of ester bonding between the carbon and oxygen molecule. Now this ester bond is linked by the phosphate group on the fifth carbon atom. All these structures will be clear when we will be going to understand the nucleic acids in detail. The second type of covalent bond is the hydrogen bond, which is present between the nucleotides on either side of the helix. Thank you.